the fifth season of American animated television series Adventure Time, created by Pendleton Ward, originally aired on Cartoon Network in the United States. The series is based on a short produced for Frederator's Nicktoons network animation incubator series Random Cartoons. The season debuted on November 12, 2012 and finished on March 17, 2014. The season follows the adventures of Finn, a human boy, and his best friend and adoptive brother Jake, a dog with magical powers to change shape and grow and shrink at will. Finn and Jake live in the post-apocalyptic Land of Ooo. Along the way, they interact with the other main characters of the show, Princess Bubblegum, the Ice King, and Marceline the Vampire Queen. The first episode of the fifth season was the two-parter episode Finn the Human, and Jake the Dog, both of which aired on November 12, 2012. The episode was viewed by 3.435 million viewers. This marked a dramatic increase from the previous season's premiere and finale. The season ended with the Billy's Bucket List, which was viewed by 2.335 million viewers. The season has been met with largely positive critical reception. In June 2013, the series was nominated for Best Animated Series at the 2013 Critics' Choice Television Awards, although it did not win. Both Simon and Marcy, and B. More were nominated for Primetime Emmy Awards for short-format animation at the 65th and 66th Primetime Emmy Awards respectively. Former character designer Andy Ristaino and series art director Nick Jennings both won Emmys for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Animation in 2013 and 2014, respectively. This season comprised 52 episodes, making it twice the length of any of the show's previous seasons. The episodes were storyboarded and written by Tom Herpich, Jesse Moynihan, Cole Sanchez, Rebecca Sugar, Steve Wolford, Skylar Page, Somvalake Sherphone, Akko Kastura, Michael DeForge, Kent Osborne, David O'Reilly, Ward, Graham Volk, Thomas Wellman, Luke Pearson, C.O. Kim, and Ristaino. The season also featured O'Reilly and James Baxter as guest animators in the episodes A Glitch is a Glitch, and James Baxter the Horse, respectively. Furthermore, this was the last year of Adventure Time to feature Sugar and Page. They all left to pursue different interests. It was produced by Cartoon Network Studios and Frederator Studios. In addition, several compilation DVDs that contained episodes from the season have been released. Development, concept: the season follows the adventures of Finn the Human, a human boy, and his best friend Jake, a dog with magical powers to change shape and grow and shrink at will. Finn and Jake live in the post-apocalyptic Land of Ooo. Along the way, they interact with the other main characters of the show, Princess Bubblegum, the Ice King, and Marceline the Vampire Queen. Common storylines revolve around Finn and Jake discovering strange creatures, dealing with the antagonistic but misunderstood Ice King, and battling monsters in order to help others. Various other episodes deal with Finn and his romantic relationship with Flame Princess. Production: on October 12, 2012, it was announced that Cartoon Network had officially renewed Adventure Time for a fifth season. The episode titles were released on November 2, 2012 by Frederator Studios, while the show had just reached the end of its fourth season. Based on production numbers, Finn the Human was the first episode that underwent production, and it was also the first episode aired. Storyboard artist Jesse Moynihan and storyboard artist and former character designer Andy Ristaino confirmed that the season will contain 52 episodes, twice the normal number of episodes per season. Both Frederator and Moynihan explained that originally, a four-part special was supposed to divide the season in half, but that the special was pushed off, and later cancelled. In production, the first half of the season was referred to as Season 5.1, and the second half was referred to as 5.2. After the writers pitch the stories, the ideas are compiled onto a 2 to 3 page outline that contain the important beats. The episodes are then handed off to storyboard artists. The episode's design and coloring are done in Burbank, California. Animation is handled overseas in South Korea by Rough Draft Korea. Although almost all of the episodes are hand-animated, the 15th episode, A Glitch is a Glitch, was created by guest animator David O'Reilly in his signature 3D animation. According to Adamuto, O'Reilly was brought on board after Ward expressed an interest in letting him helm an episode. Initially, the producers had wanted O'Reilly to appear in earlier seasons, but the network was hesitant to bring in guest directors until he was finally approved to appear in the 5th season. British animator James Baxter guest animated the horse featured in the episode James Baxter the Horse. The season was storyboarded and written by Tom Herpich, Moynihan, Cole Sanchez, Sugar, Steve Wolford, Skylar Page, Song the Lake Shearphone, Castora, Michael DeForge, Kent Osborne, O'Reilly, Ward, Graham Volk, Thomas Wellman, Luke Pearson, C.O. Kim, and Ristaino. Little Dude was the first entry in the series to have been storyboarded by prop and character designer DeForge. He wrote on his official Tumblr that, Cole and Adamuto basically held my hand through the whole process, and were both incredibly patient with me. Starting with Love Games, Ristaino was promoted from lead character designer to storyboard artist. Guest artist Volk, creator of the animated series Untalkative Bunny, storyboarded the episodes SHH and Root Beer Guy. The former was dedicated to Armin Mizayan, who was a storyboard artist for earlier episodes in the series. Mizayan died in a car accident on February 21, 2013 at the age of 35. Regular storyboardist Castora had to take off 2 storyboard rotations due to an art show, and so her partner, Moynihan, worked with German cartoonist Wellman in The Suitor and Wizards Only, Fools. The two worked on their storyboards via Skype and Google Plus Hangout. Pearson was paired with Shearphone for both the episodes Candy Streets and Frost and Fire. However, this pairing was only temporary, and Shearphone boarded the rest of the season with Kim. This season was the last to feature Page and Sugar. Page left after completing Davy to create his own series Clarence. Sugar left the series after storyboarding the episode Simon and Marcy to focus her attention on her own Cartoon Network series, Steven Universe. The episode All Your Fault was the last regular episode of the season to feature a directed by credit. The subsequent episode, Little Dude, only credited Muto as supervising director, and Nick Jennings as art director. Muto later explained that, no one currently gets the directed by credit. Both Muto and Nate Cash had, in previous episodes, been credited as creative directors, but according to Muto, the series decided to phase the title out in favor of supervising director. For the first half of the season, both Muto and Cash took turns holding the supervising director credit on different episodes. Starting with SHH. However, Elizabeth Ito, a former storyboard artist for the show in Season 1, returned to the series and was also credited as supervising director in place of Muto. Bad Little Boy, the season's 11th episode, however, still had a directed by credit. This is due to the fact that the episode was produced before Little Dude, but aired out of order. A Glitch is a Glitch also featured a directed by credit, but this is due to the fact that the episode's director, O'Reilly, was a guest animator and director for the series. The season is produced by Cartoon Network Studios and Frederator Studios. Cast. The voice actors include voice acting veterans John DiMaggio, Tom Kenny, and Pendleton Ward. In addition, Jeremy Shudder portrays the voice of Finn the Human, and Olivia Olson portrays Marceline the Vampire Queen. Ward himself provides the voice for several minor characters, including Lumpy Space Princess. Former storyboard artist Nki Yang voices the sentient video game console BMO in English, as well as Jake's girlfriend, Lady Rainicorn, in Korean. Polly Lou Livingston, a friend of Pendleton Ward's mother, Betty Ward, plays the voice of the small elephant Tree Trunks. Jessica D. Psycho voices Flame Princess, Finn's former romantic interest. The season's first few episodes also feature the Lick, the series' principal antagonist. The Lick is portrayed by Ron Perlman. The Adventure Time cast records their lines together in group recordings as opposed to different recording sessions with each voice actor. This is to record more natural-sounding dialogue among the characters. Hynden Walk described these group recordings as like doing a play reading a really, really out there play. Several voices actors and actresses reprised their characters in this season. Emo Phillips reprises his fourth season character Cuba in both 5 More Short Grayballs, and another 5 Short Grayballs. Both Justin Roiland and Andy Milanikis reprised their roles as the Earl of Lemon Rab and NEPTR, respectively in Mystery Dungeon. Roiland would voice both Earls of Lemon Rab in the following episodes: All Your Fault, another 5 More Short Grayballs, Too Old, and Lemon Hop. He would also voice the character Lemon Hop in Too Old, and the eponymous episode. Bad Little Boy featured Neil Patrick Harris returning as Prince Gumball, Madeline Martin reprising the role of Finna, and Roz Ryan reappearing as Cake. Keith David once again voices the Flame King in Vault of Bones, Earth and Water, and the Red Throne. Davy Johnson reappears as the Goblin King Ksegeek in The Great Bird Man. He also voices the titular character in the episode Davy. Steve Little, who plays the recurring role as Peppermint Butler, also reprises his role as Abracadaniel in Wizards Only, Fools, and Playdate. Maurice LaMarche reprises his role as Grand Master Wizard in both Wizards Only, Fools, and Betty. Musical parody artist Weird Al Yankovic reprises his role as Banana Man in We Fixed a Truck. Noah Nelson reprises his role as Keoth the Demon in the 2-parter Playdate, and The Pit, having first appeared in the 3rd season episode Dad's Dungeon. Osborne reprises his recurring role as Finn and Jake's dad, Joshua, in the episode The Pit. Ron Lynch returns to the series in Apple Wedding, voicing Mr. Pig. Jeff Bennett reprises his role as Choose Goose in the episode Blade of Grass, and also voices an alternate universe version of the character named Choose Bruce in the episode Finn the Human. Miguel Vera reprises his role as Death, and Steve Agee returns as Ash in Betty. Both Lou Ferrigno, Andy Samberg, and Mark Hamill return in Billy's Bucket List as Billy, Party Pat, and the Fear Feaster, respectively. The series also regularly employs guest voices for various characters. For instance, in the 2-parter Finn the Human, and Jake the Dog, Ming-Na Wen voiced Farmworld Finn's mother, Kumail Nanjiani appeared as Prismo, and Cloris Leachman plays the role of Farmworld Marceline. Additionally, in Jake the Dog, and Frost and Fire, Emmett Walsh voices the Cosmic Owl. In Upper Tree, Jim Cummings voices the Porcupine, Lenny the Beaver, and the Owl. And Mark Maron appears as the Squirrel. Cummings would later reappear in the latter season episode Candy Streets playing a different character. In Jake the Dad, Kristen Schaal lends her voice to Jake Jr. Cho Dong-yeon appears as TV in Kim Kil-won. And Sunny Sangela voices both Charlie and Viola. In Little Dude, Dana Snyder appears as the ancient sleeping magi of life-giving. With Bad Little Boy, Donald Glover debuted as Marshall Lee, Marceline's male counterpart. In the episode Fury, Jonathan Frakes voices a grown-up version of Finn, Mandy Siegfried voices Roslinin, and Wallace Shawn voices an Oracle. LeVar Burton voices an anthropomorphic Bubble in BMO Lost. Baxter plays the eponymous character in the James Baxter the Horse. Both Johnny Pemberton and James Adomian appear in the episode The Suitor, voicing Braco and the demon-possessed Cinnamon Bun, respectively. Series storyboard artist Cole Sanchez voiced the party god in SHH. And Party's Over, I led a C+ or minus orator. Key Lindholm portrayed the female island in the latter episode. The character Tiffany, who had first appeared in a minor role in the first season episode My Two Favorite People, reappears in One Last Job. In the first season, he was voiced by Vincenzo Rosso. However, in One Last Job, he was voiced by Colin Dean. Comedienne Melissa Villasana appears as Anne the pharmacist in Candy Streets. Duncan Trussell appears as Ron James in Wizards Only, Fools, and Betty. Dan Mintz appears as TV. In Jake Suit. Aziz Ansari, Paul F. Tompkins, and Chuck McCann appear in Be More, as DMO, one of the SMOs, and Mo Giovanni, respectively. Sky Witch features Jill Talley, the wife of Kenny, voicing the eponymous Sky Witch, Maja. In The Vault, Isabel Fuhrman voices Shoko and Paul Scheer voices the Bath Boy Gang boss. In Love Games, Katie Crown voices Slime Princess's sister Blagather, and John Hodgman appears as Elder Plops. Marina Sirtis voices the character Samantha in the episode The Pit. In James, Andy Merrill appears as the titular character. In the episode Root Beer Guy, series outline writer Jack Pendarvis lends his voice to the character of the same name, and Anne Heck voices the character's wife, Cherry Cream Soda. In addition, Make-A-Wish Foundation arranged for a 14-year-old named Christopher to be the voice of a background character in Root Beer Guy. Andy Daly voices the King of Ooo in Apple Wedding. Rainn Wilson voices the titular character in Rattleballs. Roddy Piper plays the part of Don John in The Red Throne. Lena Dunham appears as Betty in the episode of the same name. Actor and musician Creed Bratton voices the character Flannel Boxing Day in Lemon Hop. Former series storyboard artist Akko Kastura voices Canyon in Billy's Bucket List. Various other characters are voiced by Dee Bradley Baker, Maria Bamford, and Little. Reception and release, ratings. The season debuted on November 12, 2012, with the two-part episode Finn the Human/Jake the Dog. Together, both episodes were watched by 3.435 million viewers. This marked a drastic increase of almost 1 million viewers when compared to the previous season premiere, as well as the previous season finale. The season opener was also the most watched episode of the season. Aside from the season opener, Jake the Dad, Bad Little Boy, and Frost and Fire were the only other episodes of the season to garner over 3 million viewers, and they were watched by 3.19, 3.077, and 3.009 million viewers, respectively. On March 29, 2013, it was reported that the show averaged roughly 2 to 3 million viewers per episode. The season concluded with Billy's Bucket List on March 17, 2014. The episode was viewed by 2.335 million viewers, marking a slight decrease in viewers when compared to the season 4 finale The Lick, which was viewed by 2.589 million viewers. Reviews and accolades. Eric Cohn of IndieWire praised the beginning of the season for being irreverent and narratively engaging. He called it the ideal testament to animation's glorious pliability in an commercial arena otherwise defined by restrictions. Cohn felt that the show's exploration of sad subtext such as the series' mysterious mushroom war and the relationship between Marceline and the Ice King and the characters' abilities to deny the bad vibes their surrounding world invites via cheery songs and vibrant artwork were some of the series' strongest points. He was particularly pleased with the season opener, calling it an interesting creative challenge. Cohn later published an article explaining why Adventure Time is the best sci-fi show on TV right now. He singled out Simon and Marcy, praising the way in which the episode deepened the world of Ooo in all kinds of morbidly fascinating ways. Furthermore, he compared the entry to Cormac McCarthy's book The Road, specifically citing the similarities between the mutant creatures in the episode and the demented people in the latter. Cohn ultimately concluded that the series' willingness to contemplate the themes of the episode while sticking to its unique combination of silliness and haunting beauty routinely transforms the show into a wondrous genre experiment. Oliver Sava of the AV Club wrote that the season was experimental in that the series writers and storyboard artists continue to experiment with what they can do in 10 minutes. He specifically cited the plots from the season openers, All the Little People, and SHH as examples, and applauded the fact that the series was willing to explore different styles of animation, such as in the installment A Glitch is a Glitch. Rich Goldstein of the Daily Beast argued that the emotional depth of the series increased during the season, highlighting Simon and Marcy as an example. Emily Gerendelsberger of the AV Club later awarded the entire season an A, noting that Adventure Time has somehow managed to stay on fire for its fifth Sony unregistered trademark double-wide 52-episode run. Gerendelsberger praised the show's aforementioned creativity and experimentation, and also wrote that the writing staff has also taken the less obvious X-Files approach, expanding the length of the stories their unregistered trademark able to tell by linking Monster of the Week episodes into longer arcs. In June 2013, the series was nominated for Best Animated Series at the 2013 Critics' Choice Television Awards, although it lost to the FX series Archer. At the 65th Primetime Emmy Awards, Simon and Marcy was later nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for short format animation, and former character designer Andy Ristaino won an Emmy for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Animation for his character designs in the episode Fury, making it the series' first Emmy win. The episode Be More was later nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for short format animation at the 66th Primetime Emmy Awards in 2014. On July 31, 2014, it was announced that series art director, Nick Jennings, had won an Emmy for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Animation for his work on the episode Was It's Only Fools. Home Media, Warner Home Video released multiple DVD volumes, such as Jake the Dad, The Suitor, and Princess Day, which contain episodes from the 5th season. All DVD releases can be purchased on the Cartoon Network shop, and the individual episodes can be downloaded from both the iTunes Store and Amazon.com. Episodes. Notes: information regarding story development and storyboard artists is taken from all 52 of the episode's opening credits. Larry Lichlita served as director for the first part of the season, before the title was phased out in favor of supervising director and art director. For all episodes in Season 5, Nick Jennings served as the art director. This column will therefore list the different supervising directors. On the credit screen for the episode Davy, it is stated that the episode was storyboarded by Jesse Moynihan and Skylar Page. However, this is erroneous, and the episode was actually storyboarded by Page and Sonva Lake Sharephone, according to Adamuto. References.